You moved out to Japan recently. How is life out there, and how are you enjoying it? And what was the decision to move out to Japan and have a new experience?
Mate, it's good. First and foremost, obviously, it's a culture that's vastly different to the UK, and rugby over is viewed differently. The way they run the sort of the rugby side of things and everything is completely different. So it's a new challenge. It's definitely something that I'm enjoying. Now it comes with its challenges. Obviously, the language and communicating with teammates is one, but it's something that I'm just trying to embrace. And as for the reason coming out here, it's more, you know, I didn't play much when I was my last year at Bath, so I knew that my stock was probably a little bit lower than what I perceived it should have been. And the opportunity just come up to come out here and sign a year's contract out here, and I thought, I played for three great clubs in England. It'd be great to have an experience to come out here, and it's only a year's contract, so at the minute it's all up in the air. There's a few options for next season, sort of starting to materialize. So I'll see where I end up next year, whether I stay out or not. But it's been an experience that I'm glad I've taken up and then sort of trying to make the most of.
And looking at your international career, what's some of the best memories in England shirt for you?
Well, there's only a couple, isn't there? There's not too many. There's not too many to choose from, mate. I think I played for England 5 times. I think I was in the squad for probably 3 years. I think it was. I was in the squad, and no, great memories. I definitely feel like I potentially could have had a few more caps, maybe. Obviously, that's part of that is my choices and sort of my form and that, and others have been just coaches' personal preferences and stuff like that. But the 5 caps I've got, obviously the debut sticks out. That's the obvious one. To beat the All Blacks first up. I remember James Haskell coming up to me on the at the final whistle, and to use cleaner language than his, he said, I think it was something like his 52nd cap, whatever. He goes, it's taken me 52 caps to beat you. And you've done it in one. So I probably should have retired there from international rugby. But no, I think everything. I'm one thing I'm very, very lucky with my caps is obviously to play the All Blacks at Twickenham and beat them. And then I had the experience of going to Argentina for 2 tests over there, which we won. And Argentina is an unbelievable place to tour and play against the Pumas. And then obviously to represent England down in New Zealand twice, to play against the All Blacks at Eden Park with everything that Eden Park is and the history and all that, and to come so close to getting a result there as well was key. So, I've not got that many to choose from, so I guess I can put them all in the same bracket. I just feel very fortunate to sort of have those 5 opportunities that I did.
Quality over quantity.
Apparently so, yeah. I'm not sure if that works with caps. It definitely doesn't work for the cash that you get each cap. But other than that, it's like I said, I think one thing that I've always been pretty hard on myself through my career, and I think one thing you got to realise is 5 caps is 5 more than a lot of people that wanted 1. Do you know what I mean? And it was a dream to play for England and all those cliches. So do I feel a little bit like I underachieved internationally by only getting 5 caps? Yeah, but at the same time, those 5 caps are there now, and no one can take them away from me. So I'm immensely proud of them.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you got 5 caps. So who are the best players you played with and against while playing for England?
While I was playing for England, oh Christ! I think for me, I was fortunate to have him as a club mate as well. But Manu Tuolangi for me is different breed, especially that first cap of mine against the All Blacks, where there's one where I think he like fends McCaw, or like bumps Carter, fends McCaw, and then puts Ashley in for the try. And for me, Manu's one of those who's been very hard dealt with injuries. He's also, he plays under immense amount of pressure. He comes back from a 9-month layoff, and everyone expects him to run through everyone straight away. But yeah, for me, Manu on his day is unplayable. And, obviously in those squads, you've had the likes of Owen Farrell, who's gone on to do great things as a great player. yeah, and I really enjoyed playing with Richard Wigglesworth and Dave Strettle, actually, especially out in Argentina. We had a good little group, and someone like Stretz, for example, is no, I think he was fiercely underrated when he was a player, and yeah, he was a good boy too.
So moving on then, the England squad's been announced. What do you think are some of the names in there, and who are your standouts in the England squad?
I think that it's such a England almost have an embarrassment of riches at the minute in every position. I think anyone can argue. For me, being a fly half, you see the names that are in there. You see Marcus Smith missing out. You see Joe Simmons missing out, and you can easily stake a claim for both of them with their club form this year. But for me, I feel like with the fly half debate, especially in England, it's Eddie Jones is a Farrell and Ford man. There is two guys. So, why does Jacob Umunga come in the squad and expect to start that first game of the Six Nations? Probably not. So you're kind of that third position. You're probably better off having someone who's not going to upset the apple cart and come in and train hard and learn, rather than come in and try and ruffle a few feathers and expect to start. But stand out for me, I'm interested to see how Paolo Odogwu goes. Obviously, I trained with him. He was in the academy at Leicester when I was there, and he was a specimen. But he kind of had he's a great kid. I love Paolo to bits. But he had that kind of attitude where it was sort of like, not a bad attitude by any stretch, but an attitude where you kind of thought, oh, would he push on or wouldn't he? And then Leicester released him, and he's obviously gone to Wasps, and to see him in the form that he's in at the minute. And the best thing about him is he's just having a laugh, isn't he? Yeah. Like, you just see him sort of taking the piss, really, which is kind of. So I'll be interested to see if he gets a shot and how he goes. I think he'll do unbelievably well. But yeah, so he's probably the standout for me that I'm looking forward to seeing. You can tell I'm a fly half, so I picked no forwards.
And you mentioned the Odogwu, but what do you think about the other new boy in the squad, in Harry Randall?
Yeah, I mean, he's been classed for Bristol, and it's good to see guys like that are playing so well for their clubs get a nod. Obviously, there's the whole Ben Spencer debate, isn't there, with scrum halves and that. But no, he's been classed. I think the main thing for Harry Randall will be that sort of driving the game and demanding things of the forwards in front of him. But he's another one who's gone on at Bristol, and he's a key part to their success at the minute, and good on him for getting the call up. So a real exciting player. I fully expect to see Ben Youngs in that starting jersey, and obviously I'm not sure how far off he is 100. Is he just need 1 or 2 caps or something? I think it is. So I expect him to get that number 9 jersey. But for me, it'd be great. I'd love to see your Odogwus, your Harry Randalls, and those on the bench, and seeing them getting on for 20 minutes and just letting loose, hopefully, because England, yes, they're winning, but let's be honest, it's not a great spectacle to watch, really. It's not that real exciting rugby. It's winning rugby, and that's what you want at international. But I'd love to see those guys get on and bring a little bit of sparkle to the team.
Yeah, that leads on to my next question then, which is, what do you think of England's performances in the autumn? Obviously, they won the Autumn Nations Cup, but they did struggle against, a weakened French team in the final.
Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, they'll say they won it. Like, that's all that counts. And, that whole cliche of winning ugly and when things aren't going for you. But no, I feel like, I feel like England do need to develop a more attacking game. I do think. I think they've got the resources there to do it. And, I just can't quite see why it's not really coming to fruition on the weekends. That said, I think for me personally, especially looking forward to the Six Nations, France for me is someone who, you get those teams that you'd pay good money to go and watch, and France are one of them at the minute. So, I felt it was good. I felt that Autumn Nations Cup was kind of a funny old competition, though, wouldn't it? Because it's international rugby and it's great to have, but it was kind of like a bit of a fill-in competition, wouldn't it? And a lot of teams, you even look at the French team that went to the played in the final, missing so many players because they're playing for their club. So you'll never belittle international rugby, even if it's a friendly or whatever they call it. But I fully expect England to be better in this Six Nations, and it should be a good competition.
Obviously, you never did get to play in the Six Nations, but why is the Six Nations different, and why is it special to European fans, and especially the Wales v England game, and what does that mean to the English?
Yeah, like first of all, that's one thing I think I'd always be gutted is not. I was on the bench against Italy. I picked up an injury the 2013 season, the week before. Managed to get back fit for the last game against Italy and was an unused sub. So always be pretty gutted to never play a Six Nations games. But I think the Six Nations is so special because we all know a Scottish bloke, we all know an English bloke, we all know an Irish bloke. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's at work, whether it's at the local rugby club, whether that's whatever it is. And it's that art of being able to sit in a pub. Well, obviously not now, but normally it's the art of being able to sit in a pub next to your mates who support a different country and have that banter and that rivalry of those that are nearest and dearest to you. And I think that for me is the most special thing. And also, I always say that a lot of the time rivalries come from people you respect more rather than the opposite. Obviously you can have the easy, we hate each other, all that, but actually underneath it all, there's a huge respect. You take England, Wales, there's a huge respect between the players. Obviously a lot of players mingle with each other. I played with my fair share of Welshmen in my time. And those people you respect are always the ones that you want to get one over with most. So I think that's what really makes it special. And yeah, just that stick that you can give your mates at the rugby club or down the pub or on a Zoom quiz night or whatever it is nowadays. It's got to be because of this shit. But that's what makes it special for me. Just the fact that there's a real familiarity with the competition and your opposition, really.
And talking about rivalries and playing the other countries, your brother Billy is in the Ireland squad now. How good is it to see him on the international scene?
Oh, it's amazing. I think, I've said in a couple of other interviews in the past that for me, he reached a stage in his career where he was at Gloucester and he was playing really well for Gloucester. He was a key part to them. I think they just lost when they lost to Cardiff in Bilbao in the Challenge Cup, and he played really well in that game and was a key part to getting them there. And suddenly they brought in Cipriani, which you won't hold against anyone. Like Sips is a class operator, and you see all the impact that he had in his time at Gloucester. But for Bill, it was a case of he's still in contract. Does he stay loyal to Gloucester and stay there and become a frustrated second choice 10 and probably then not struggle to get clubs, but you're always then a second choice. You're trying to step out of Cipriani's shadow and make a name for yourself, or does he go to Ireland where he's Irish qualified and Ulster come in and try and have a shot there? And he's gone to Ulster. He's been unbelievable in the games that he's played. He's grown. When Ian Henderson's not captain, he tends to lead the team out as well. So he's grown as a bloke and as a player over there, and he's fully deserving of his shot to play for Ireland. So for me, I'm probably a bit more of an Irish fan at the minute. My granddad was Irish. I never met him, but obviously I know how proud it makes my old man to see Bill play in that jersey, and for us all as well to have another brother play for international rugby is class. I just hate having to get up at 3:00 in the morning to watch a little bit.
When you were at Bath, you played with quite a few Welsh boys like Jimmy Roberts, Faletau, Prieston, I think Webb had a stint there as well. What were those boys like to play with?
Oh, class. I think they're all class operators. I don't know how the Welsh do it. Small country, but they seem to just breed rugby talent. Obviously competed with Reece, real class operator and everything he does. Toby Faletau for me is just a different breed. He's in the Manu Tuolangi sort of category of players. I think he's world 15 standard on his day. Obviously, again, slightly plagued with injuries and that, but he's a guy who's he's unplayable on his day. Obviously, Doc was good. He's a hero, isn't he? He's a blooming Welsh legend. So he had a good little trip to Ibiza with the Doc, as we call him. But no, like I said, Reece Webb came. He's a great lad. There's loads of great talent in Wales, and all the boys are all the boys are good. They love getting in shape and eating clean and fake tan and all that stuff. All the cliches are true. But no, I think they're great players, and like you say, just great blokes as well. I think very, very down to earth. And yeah, to play alongside some of them was a real privilege.
You mentioned earlier, going back, you've got a few things in the pipeline, but what are your ambitions now, rugby wise, and then what do you want to do post career?
It's quite in terms of the coming season. There's a few options for me in and around the world really at the minute, which is quite a nice place to be, but it's all kind of up in the air because there's pay cuts in England. There's the season over here hasn't even started yet, so there's decisions to be made whether I can't really make a decision whether I enjoy the rugby or not over here because I've not actually played any competitive games over here yet. So that's kind of all up in the air. There's a few real exciting possibilities that I'm talking to at the minute, but obviously that there's a long way that comes from having conversations to negotiating deals and all that sort of thing. But I think for me, I've definitely realised being over here that I'm only 30. I've still got a desire to really compete in top level rugby, whether that's out here or back home or somewhere else. So that's probably me for the next few years. Obviously, I'll see what these deals sort of materialise and go from there. And as for after rugby, I don't really know, to be honest. I've not really thought a great deal about it. I really enjoy the media side of things. I enjoy chatting about the game, but that's quite a small sort of niche opportunity that a lot of players will probably take if they can. So no, I'd love to go into that, but apart from that, no real ideas at the minute. Just trying to set myself up financially for when I retire. But I feel like I've still got a good sort of 4 or 5 years left in me, just on how the body feels, and obviously having the year off because of COVID. And so far, it's been, I think, come the start of March, it'll be a whole year since I played a game. So I've had an 11-month sabbatical pretty much. So hopefully I can tag that on to the end of the career and hang around a little bit longer.